Hello. We're currently sitting here on day 8 of being sick. I can't hear really out of one of my ears, so volume maintenance is not great. We are going to do a book unhaul today of some books that I recently put aside on Pengo and listed, and some books I want to drop off at a little free library in a couple weeks or days here. If you're not familiar, Pengo Books, I'm not sponsored at all, but it is a service that allows you to sell used books and new books, I guess, but it allows you as a person that owns books, booktuber or not, it allows you to go on there and resell them to people. The majority of my books that I read, I don't want to own and reread again. I'm gonna first go through the books that are already listed on Pengo. Something Wild and Wonderful by Anita Kelly. This is a queer romance that I read and really enjoyed, but not one that I would probably reread. And it's a newer release. I also have Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I read this a long time ago. Sci-fi time travel-y goodness. It's a classic, obviously. And I had it because even though I had read it a long time ago, I love the sci-fi masterworks. They all are beautiful and match each other. But like I said, I'm not really a huge collector these days. I also have The Grip of It by Jack Jemk, which I did read this. Oh my god. That makes me so sad because I was so excited about this one when I first got it. It's a book about this couple that move into a new house and things about their relationship start to split even further because they were already kind of distant from one another, and there's just this eerie presence to the house. I also have Boys Run the Riot volumes 1 and 2. I absolutely love this series. It is a series about a trans boy that is starting to open up his own clothing business, kind of like while he's still in high school. And I had the first 4 volumes, but the 3rd and 4th have already sold. I also have, oh, this is kind of interesting as a juxtaposition with that one. I have Frankenstein by Jeanette Winterson, and I picked it up because it's a Frankenstein retelling, kind of. The first reaction I got was, I think, from Michelle, who was saying that it was extremely transphobic, and so I've just like, it put a bad taste in my mouth, and so I've just never picked it up, and I think I'm fine. The Death of Grass by John Christopher. This is a really pretty classic edition of whatever this is. This is a, I think, a like an ecological apocalypse book. I also have 30 Names of Night by Zain Jukadar. This one I have not read, and I had actually picked this up a long time ago based on like a bunch of people's recommendations. Ultimately, I tried to read a few pages and I just wasn't feeling it, and so I'm just gonna unhaul it. I also don't know why, but I received this, Red London by Almakatsu, from the publisher, and The Deep was like a huge letdown for me, and I don't even remember if I ever did a review on it, but I had requested the ARC, and so it was just funny to me that like 5 years later I get this. I was just like, I don't want this. It's like a CIA agent, and I'm not into it. We have Breathers by S.G. Brown. It's supposed to be, I think, kind of like Warm Bodies-ish. I just didn't like the perspective of it. It was kind of sexist already, and I think I've read maybe like 15 pages. Same as this one by Chuck Palahniuk, it's Survivor. This one I tried to read as well. It is about a character who runs a cult or is part of a cult. He had put an ad in the paper. At first it was an accident, but then he does it intentionally, pretending to be a suicide hotline, and has people call him. And then instead of helping them, he kind of talks them through unaliving themselves. And he kind of uses it as like a creepy dating thing as well. Back to less intense things. I'm going to be unhauling Cat Plus Gamer 1 and 2. This is a cat manga series. I believe I started this in my cat manga review video a while back, and I think it's cute, but after having read the first one, the second one was just not, it felt like the exact same thing again. It's a woman who is really into video games, and she has an office job, and then she gets a cat. She kind of treats like the raising and loving of this cat, this caring of this cat, as a video game. So like each thing like is like a battle if the cat's going a little crazy. I also had picked up this other one specifically because of the quote by Paul Tremblay, but it's Antioch by Jessica Leonard. After picking up a late night transmission on our shortwave radio, a bookseller, Bess, becomes convinced that a new victim of this serial killer is happening, and she wants to try to stop it. We have Nameless. I don't remember what this is about, but a sci-fi horror type book. I also read this recently. This is Sunlight. This is a horror graphic novel about a group of people who go down into An Abandoned Mine, and it's more psychological than anything, and there's some creepy like sexist stuff happening in that too. And then also Haha Sad Clown Stories, which is by the same like author, and I believe other authors, but as Ice Cream Man. This is truly just about sad stories about clowns. None of them were particularly creative or surprising. I think one of them was like a little messed up. They needed more. Just to kind of jump on board with the Chuck Palahniuk thing again, I have Choke by Chuck Palahniuk. He pretends to choke on pieces of food while dining in upscale restaurants. They feel like they're responsible for like keeping his life going, and so they send him checks. I had gotten this a while back because I kind of wanted to get Jose to read it. This is going to be Vicious by V.E. Schwab. I'm just really not on board with V.E. Schwab anymore. Kind of like adult superhero science-y stuff. And then this next smaller stack of books is books that I'm going to be donating to a little free library, mostly just because they're very old or because of the condition. You'll see. Koba by Robin Cook. If you can tell by the very yellowed cover and this gorgeous back picture, this is an older book. I believe they initially go in because they're going to be having surgery, and then something happens where they become part of an experiment. And then one more Chuck Palahniuk. I don't even know what this one's about, to be honest. I got this as a used library book though. That's why we're getting rid of this one instead to the little free library instead of trying to resell it. The next one is Where the World Ends by Geraldine McCaffrey. I was gonna buddy read this, I believe, with Wheezy, and I did start to read it a bit. It's a YA book, and I did start to like annotate and stuff because we were gonna buddy read, and then it kind of fell off for both of us. I ended up starting it and not really being that interested. I believe it's about this group of kids that ends up having to hunt for birds on this huge like crag in the ocean, I think, something like that. Dark Side by Anthony O'Neill. This is a sci-fi book about the lawless moon colony. I think I picked it up because we went to the specific bookstore and I felt bad not buying anything. I also have another spacey book here. This is Meg Howry's The Wanderers, and this cover is gorgeous. I believe it's about going back into space. I don't know if it's about space colonization or something. And the very last one I purchased because I'm so excited about reading the other book by this author. And then I realized that like I'm sure this would be better suited for someone else. This is Only Revolutions by Mark Danielewski, and you'll see the bookmarks there. Well, the bookmarks also over here because this is a book that you can read, that you're supposed to read front to back and then flip it over and then front to back again. I have House of Leaves actually right back here on my shelves, but I haven't read it yet. I'm still very not confident that I will be able to read House of Leaves, but it's at least the more well-known work, and so I know people have read it and been successful, which is a plus. That is the stack of books that I'm going to be unhauling to a little free library. You'll see a video about it at some point soon, but otherwise those are all the books. There are 26 books, I believe. It doesn't matter at this point because I'm getting rid of them. So if you're interested, like I said, I have them, most of them for sale down on my Pango. I believe it only ships in the US though, so that's one thing to think about. That's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I am sorry if I unhauled any books that you enjoyed. I'm probably going to keep having more unhaul videos because the more I look at my shelves, I sometimes just get like the itching urge to just get rid of all of them. That's a me problem though. So again, thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.